I'm sure many of you have seen the number of dogs in businesses that many times are not true service animals. And this bill was brought to me by what Forrest Gump would refer to as a best good friend, whose daughter ended up getting a service animal, and they spent $15,000 buying a service animal. And I was educated in the process of what goes into a service animal. So more times than not, a service animal does not even begin training till they're a year old, and many times train for another year before an individual gets that dog. So not to mention the time, the cost of actually purchasing the animal, but the time that is invested with the individual that dog is going to serve, it takes a lot of time. So most of the time, by the time that dog is born, it's probably 3 years before that animal is actually able to provide those services truly. So the problem is many times businesses, I think, get abused by people claiming to have service animals. You know, they've got a little poodle they're carrying in their arms going into the grocery store, and you know, dadgum good and well, that's not a service animal. And they're abusing the fact that many businesses are restricted in asking, is that truly a service animal? They're allowed to ask a couple of questions. Is that a service animal, and what service does that animal provide is pretty much all that can be asked. So what my bill does is gives a little bit of protection to the business owner as well as the person that has a true service animal in holding those people accountable that abuse that privilege, to charge them with a crime if that animal is found to not be a true service animal, or it causes damage to that business. They will be held accountable for the repairs at that business. So it does two things. One, it protects the business owner, and two, it protects people that actually have service animals. So with that, I renew my motion.
Representative Butler, I appreciate that explanation. Representative Freeman, you're recognized.
Yes. Thank you for bringing this and trying to clarify. As I'm reading through it, I don't see where it clarifies what is a service animal, because I think part of the problem that I've seen is that you can, you know, get online and have someone certify as an emotional response dog, which is actually a valid thing. I know many soldiers that struggle with PTSD that have animals that help them calm down when they start to have emotional issues. But I see where it says that if you falsely misrepresent, but I mean, how is this solving the problem if we're still going to have the same service animal certification? Because I don't think it addresses it in here.
Well,
Representative Butler, you're recognized.
Thank you. My original intent was to require a certification to be worn on the dog that would be issued by the state of Tennessee. And I think that after working through legal, there's some legal issues there with the ADA requirements to try to require a identification or certification and require a specific amount of training to be provided for these dogs, because people that have service animals have invested tens, if not $20,000, $30,000 in these service animals, not to go through the fact that the blood testing that's been done when that dog is born to make sure that they're going to not have any deficiencies or defects in that dog before they even start training them. So this simply is just trying to protect the business owner in conjunction with the folks that truly need a service animal. So we have a very narrow window of what we can and can't do under federal ADA requirements there. So you're allowed to ask them what that service animal does and what service they're providing for you, but that's pretty much all you can ask as a business owner.
Representative Freeman.
So I just want to make sure that I'm reading it correctly. It does not define what is and isn't a valid service animal. It just says that if someone is just completely making it up and they buy the vest for their dog, if you ask and they have, even if it's a bogus certification, that still counts. This is only if they are just completely misrepresenting the fact that it's a service animal. Is that a fair estimation?
Representative Butler, you recognize.
Yes.